Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Standard Definition, the Retro and Nostalgia Podcast here on the Boss Rush Network. I am your host for this series, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, as always, is the party dude, that retro code Eddie B.
I want some Domino's pizza right now.
This is a 10. The tab's 13.
I was watching that. I was just like, just the way that the pizza man just slid the pizza at the bottom and Michelangelo put the $10 up. It's just like, oh, wow.
I know.
Hello, everybody.
Also joining us is probably one of the biggest TMNT fans I know.
Yes.
The one, the only master himself, LaMont Reed.
Yes. Hello. Yes, indeed. Now I'm thinking about the Domino's pizza. When Leonardo cut up the pizza in slices, and that pizza, oh my God, it looks so good.
But not on Splinter when it landed on his head.
Yeah. Oh gosh, just thinking about that. And of course, when we got to Domino's, the place was packed, and we didn't get any. But hey, I didn't care. It was a magical time just seeing that movie, seeing all the movies. Well, the third one, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So if you couldn't tell, everybody, we're starting a new series here on Standard Definition. We are watching and ranking every Ninja Turtle, I would say big budget movie. So there's 6 movies. So you have the original 3 movies. The original TMNT that came out in 1990, Secret of the Ooze, Turtles in Time, and then you have TMNT 2007, the animated movie, which kind of serves as a pseudo sequel / reboot / nobody really knows, but whatever. By the way, that movie, not great, but the fight between Leo and Raph in that movie is some top tier turtles. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then we're also going to do the 2 Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtles movies as well, which I think some of us have, I would say, more positive opinions on those movies than most people. It's also me. I really like the second movie.
I love the second one. I really do. I keep telling Corey that part where they're in the bike and they're riding and then they all expand. Just that shot is just beautiful.
Yeah. I also like the first one, like when they're beatboxing in the elevator. That seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk about the 1990 original, the highest grossing independent movie of all time, distributed by New Line Cinema, with the help of the Jim Henson Company. Fun fact, this was the last movie Jim Henson worked on before he passed away, and he did not get to see the final film, which is sad. But all of the suits, all of the costumes were designed and puppeteered by the Jim Henson Company. The turtle masks were all remote control electronic masks. This was quite the feat of an independent movie, and it's very good. I don't know if I have really any problems with this movie. Just kind of overall thoughts in general. And I know I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan, but I do like a lot of fandoms. Comes a lot of criticisms from fans, right? But this first movie, this is on any given day, this is probably my favorite movie of all time. I'm just gonna throw it out there. It's it flops between 3 movies, right? It's this movie, it's Toy Story 1, and it's Indiana Jones and Last Crusader, like my 3 favorite movies. It's like one ABC, and they can all flop places depending on my mood for that day.
Nice.
Wow.
And man, watching this again today, like I was looking at it critically probably for the first time since we did the movie commentary Ed back on NGR, right? And like, man, I don't know if there is really anything wrong with this movie.
I can say the one thing that I think I find wrong with this movie is just more of the lighting. Because there's some parts that's just like, man, I really wish that this part was lit better.
But it's supposed to be dark. Like, that's the thing. This movie is not based off the cartoon, right? This was based off that first comic run.
Yeah,
You know?
I understand the dark and grittiness and grittiness that they're trying to go for, but there was times that it was like way too dark. Like when I was looking at trying to see Shredder and everything, and some of the Foot Clan stuff, and I'm just like, man, they could have lit this a bit better. And I understand to make Shredder more mystical and everything, but. I think it was just there were some areas that, man, they could have just added some more lighting to brighten up parts of it and stuff, but while still being able to give that mysterious look to it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but
it's funny you said that because this is the first time I actually thought about that, the lighting. Yeah, I probably I could have saw maybe an improvement of just a little lighting, just a little bit, but
I also think you got to look at it.
That's pretty much it.
I also think you got to look at it from it being filmed in 1988, also, right, where like every single movie was dark, right? You look at Terminator, you look at Alien, you look at, even
Batman.
stuff like Rambo and Rocky and. Movies that weren't supposed to be dark are still just dark because I think it was just the time. But I like it being dark. I think I want a video game based off of this Ninja Turtles. Just throwing it out there.
So I think they made it was more of like a modded game with the the turtle look. I mean the models, or whatever. I think it was a PC game. I forgot the name of it exactly. I just saw it not long ago. Wasn't the greatest looking game ever, but that was like the only game I saw. I gotta look that up. I think it was called Mutant Madness or something like that. It was white and black. So of course all the turtles pretty much looked the same.
Yeah. I mean, Ninja Turtles, really just a great movie. Let me open this up. I didn't open up what I wanted to. That was my fault. So obviously this movie, the highest independent movie of all time. Just general thoughts and ideas, guys. What Lamont, I'll start with you on this. What are your initial, like, what are your thoughts on this movie? I mean, I know you're a huge Ninja Turtle fan like me, and like I already kind of gave mine and said, this is like one of my favorite movies of all time, hands down. But what are your thoughts of this movie?
I'm pretty much like you. This is the perfect Ninja Turtle movie, and I remember. Do you all remember the very first time you actually sat down and watched this movie?
Yeah, I was in the movie theater the day that it came out.
The day it came out?
The day that it came out, my mom got home, and she took me and my brother, and we went to the 4:30 show to watch it with a whole bunch of other kids. So we sat there watching this movie, Ninja Turtles, and we were just like excited to be seeing it because we were big fans of the cartoon. We didn't have none of the toys, but when we seen that they was coming to this movie, we were more interested into seeing it. We didn't know who produced it. We didn't know like who was like the director, any of that. We were just like, this is Ninja Turtles. We're in the movie theater with a whole bunch of kids. It didn't matter race or anything, nothing like that. Everybody was there to see Ninja Turtles. And I remember being on the right side of the movie theater in the midsection, able to see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember going to the theater to see this movie. So we had my parents never really took us to like the real movie theater. It was always that we used to have like a dollar theater, like for second run movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember going. I remember going to see this, and I remember when Raphael says "damn" for the first time in this movie, and because my mom, like, she bought me the toys and stuff, right? Because I was super into it, and man, I wish I had some of my toys here, because like I out of everything that I've ever collected, Ninja Turtles is the most that I have. I have something like 200 and something Ninja Turtles. I have the sewer. I have the van. I have the weird Shredder, like, convertible car.
Yeah.
I didn't get that one. Yeah.
The only thing I never had was the Technodrome.
My friend had the Technodrome.
Yeah, I had the blimp, but it popped, and I had to like throw it away.
No.
But also, I have the van, but the swinging door snapped off, and like it's wrapped in masking tape to stay on. But I remember going to see this, and I don't think my mom understood that this movie was like not the cartoon. I think she thought she was taking me to go see the cartoon, and it's definitely not. But like, I remember seeing this in the theater and really just like, I was like almost scared, because I think it was probably like, I don't know, 1991. I was like 4 or 5, right? Like it was just, I don't know, man. There's something about this movie, and like the fact that I saw this, and then we would go to Disney World, and they had the Turtles at Hollywood Studios at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had that partnership with MGM, who owned
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Turtles at the time, like the cartoon rights and stuff. And Turtles were everywhere, and I loved every minute of it. And I don't know, man. This movie is just it's something special. I truly think this movie is special.
It's the equivalent of the Transformers movies back in the 80s. Transformers was really big, and
Another series we have to do at some point.
and when you watch the animated movie, because like Transformers toys was everywhere, the cartoon was kind of probably like one of the number one cartoons that kids were watching.
Mm-hmm.
And when the movie came out, just like Raphael saying "damn," that same word was used in the Transformers movie animated, and it's a kids movie. Like, you never thought that it will that would happen, and you just don't pay attention. I guess you just don't realize that this is to some people a cuss word and everything, but kids don't understand that. They want to see the action. They want to see their favorite character in this film adaptation of their favorite series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when I heard Raphael say that for the first time. I was just like, oh,
yeah.
Whoa. Because, everyone's used to Raphael, the sarcastic,
he's not
joking around all the time. And,
yeah, he's not like that in the cartoon. He's like the silly one, I mean, they're all kind of silly in the cartoon, right? They,
and like when I think I was probably like the loudest person in that theater. I was like, oh my God, Leonardo! And my sister kept telling me, shut up, because her boyfriend actually surprised us to see the movie. He had a van, and we were just riding. He said, well, let's go to see the movie. I didn't know what I was going to go see. And we got there, and he showed us like, oh my God, yeah! So we get there, and let me see. There was a part, yes, when we finally see Shredder, the entrance. I nearly wet my pants.
He's scary in this movie. He's not.
Shredder was scary.
Yeah,
he's
because
not scary to me.
You're lying. First of all, second of all,
no, he's not.
Like, well, you look at you. I mean, when you go to the cartoon, like, he's just some dumb. He's pretty much like a henchman for Krang after that first season, right? Rest in peace, Uncle Phil, by the way. Like, he's not scary in the cartoon. He's just like a dumb 80s cartoon villain, right? He's like Skeletor, but with a mask instead of bones, right? Like, he's dumb. And
like
Bebop and Rocksteady are dumb. But in this movie, him, like, Tetsu's scary enough, first of all. Like, I mean, not like scary as in, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go hide under my bed, but like
He's threatening.
He's a formidable opponent. And then you see Shredder, right, which he's like a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. He's got the helmet. You see Tetsu roll down his cape, and then you see the spiked shoulders for the first time. The costume in this movie is really cool. Like, it's just the costuming in this movie is like, for me, top tier, and like it's not like it's like expensive, but it looks like somebody who runs like some creepy gang in New York City, like a ninja gang, like something that the leader would wear, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, see, I thought that his costume should have. Okay, I love the cape and I love the helmet, like the metal. Like I love all of that. When I actually got to see the fabric of his purple, I'm like, this is just disco. This is some disco material that looks terrible. I think I wanted to see, like, I know Shredder is threatening, but Shredder should have been a little bit beefier. Should have had some muscle. Should have been more just like, I don't know, really in your face to make you be afraid of him. And I didn't feel afraid of him. I think and definitely when the original came out, and I was, as a kid, looking at the movie, I think it was because it was so dark, I could barely tell what it was, in a sense. And then now watching it like in modern age and looking at it, and it's just like, oh, okay, now I know what you guys go for, but this really looks terrible in a sense. This could have been a bit better, but I understand it's an independent film.
Were we watching the same movie?
Yes, we were. We was watching it. I was just looking at it. I was just like, this choice of fashion is questionable content. But I love the cake and I love the metal. I love where they were trying to go with the voice. I think the voice is what makes it.
Oh yeah, Shredder's voice is great in this. It's just like it's just kind of like Japanese enough, right, to make him feel authentic. It's just deep enough to make him sound threatening, but not over the top, right? Like he's just like, it's just enough, And I think that's what makes it great, is that it's not like, it's not super over the top. It's not super like, stereotype racist Japanese, it's just enough. And Splinter, like, kind of, not to get off topic of Shredder or anything, but like Splinter's the same way, but like the other direction, right? Like it sounds just enough. It sounds just, kind of like calm and lighthearted enough the other way, right?
Yes.
And you notice how like Shredder didn't have a lot of lines. Like all of his lines were just a half a sentence, and that was it. Like during the fight, with the turtles, when he says, so he has a name.
Mm-hmm.
That, something like that. He didn't speak much. I love that about him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you gotta
mysterious.
Because you gotta realize that he was Japanese at that time, a Rokusaki. So, and because when we think of the turtles and we think of the cartoon, it's so American.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, they're going to have a lot of lines with them because he's kind of the main protagonist along with Craig in it. And because it's only Shredder in this one, when you think of an international actor or Asian actor playing it, you just thinking that they won't have that many lines to the lift and stuff. So I think it was just at that time, depending on the actors and everything, some of them be like, well, can they speak Asian? Can they speak American or English, or cannot, or they can't? Because if you look in the credits in the movie, there was a lot of voice actors dubbing everybody. Besides April and Casey Jones.
It's funny too because like when you watch the trailer, when you watch that original trailer, Shredder's voice is not. There's no filter over it. He's just a Japanese man. It's not deep. It's just
that is true. I forgot about that original trailer.
There's a lot of shots in that original trailer that are not in the movie, which is super cool. Like I'm just like that's super cool. I also think that like this movie being an independent movie, they got to make a lot of decisions that a studio wouldn't turn down, especially in the 80s and 90s, right? And I think that made the movie feel more authentic too, is that they got to use, Japanese martial artists as actors and not necessarily just as, stereotypes. And I think when that was kind of like the original idea when Eastman and Laird were doing this. Before we move on, I want to get to our Patreon producers for this episode. We are recording this on July 8th, so these are the Patreon producers at that time. Like I mentioned before, Standard Definition is a show that we kind of record in bulk, so we may not get to you on time, but we will get to you eventually, I promise. Patreon is a subscription service that allows you to support your favorite creators directly. For just $1, you can get Standard Definition and After Dark 2 weeks early. You can get the Boss Rush podcast and Expansion Pass 1 week early. But at the $5 tier, you can become a Patreon producer, which means we give you a Patreon producer credit shout out during this section of the program. So, without further ado, our Patreon producers for this episode of Standard Definition are Quentin Jackson, Rebecca Jewell, Adrielle Munger, my wife, Sana Dirrig, and Francisco Santillan. I want to thank all of our Patreon producers. I want to thank all of our patrons, and I want to thank all of our free listeners out there as well. Remember, all of our content remains free. We just provide some perks for our patrons, as a thank you for supporting us. So, this, like I said before, this is the first episode of our Ninja Turtle ranking and review. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in 1990, distributed by New Line Cinema with a budget of $13.5 million, which is a lot of money back then for an independent film, I feel like. And destroyed the box office, making $202 million in 1990, which is crushing it at that time. It's definitely the height of popularity of Ninja Turtles. Directed by Steve Barron. Like I said before, the costumes and the puppeteering were done by the Henson Company. It was actually taken over by Jim Henson's son during the last bit of filming, and obviously he kind of went on to run the company afterwards. Excuse me. I kind of want to run through some of these characters. Let me pull up this plot first. In New York, mysterious radioactive ooze has mutated 4 sewer turtles into talking, upright, walking, crime-fighting ninjas. The intrepid heroes, Michelangelo, played by Robbie Rist, Donatello, played by Corey Feldman, Raphael, played by Josh Pace, and Leonardo, played by Brian Tochi, are trained in the ninjutsu arts by their rat sensei Splinter. When a villainous rogue ninja who is a former pupil of Splinter arrives and spreads lawlessness throughout the city, it's up to the plucky turtles to stop them. I feel like that summary is a little bit upbeat for the plot of this movie.
Yes.
I think Ed's eating dinner. I think he's bored by my plot synopsis here.
No, I'm not.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously the movie starts out with April giving a news report. April O'Neil played very handily by Judith Hoag in this movie. I think she's top tier April. No offense. Ed, what are you doing over there? Are you, unwrapping a burrito?
I wish.
There is
Sorry.
so much noise over there. What are you doing?
Sorry. Go for it.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, April is like the best in this movie. She's like not. I feel like she would be the April you would put in a movie today. You know, I feel like she's kind of powerful, sassy, kind of takes charge of her own kind of future, I guess you would say. Something that I think people would like really look up to today in a female led role.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've seen Judith Hogue. She's got her own, I think, YouTube channel and Instagram, and she's always going to these different cons. I got a friend who has met her, and she is just the sweetest person you'll ever meet, and it really shows. Yeah, but I would love to meet Judith Hogue one day. I wish she was. I wish she was on all the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess she has some other projects going on, and maybe that's why she couldn't, get into the office. But
so it was said that she was difficult to work with. There was a lot of complaints for her, so that's why she didn't end up in a second and third movie.
Oh,
yeah.
So
it's a he say she say kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. According to this report from Variety in 2014, Hogue said she was never asked to reprise the role because she had complained to the producers at Golden Harvest about the lengthy 6-day shoots and the intense violence added to the action scenes from New Line Cinema for the New Line Cinema release. Everybody was beating everybody up, Hogue says. It's Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Gosh, that reminds me of when parents were complaining about Michelangelo's nunchakus. Oh gosh, that was.
Those are banned in Europe, and they changed everything in the cartoon for him to carry a bow staff too. And they're not called the Ninja Turtles. I think they're called what are they called? They're called the.
Hero Turtles?
Yeah, Hero Turtles.
Hero Turtles.
Yeah.
That's why he got the grappling hook, and like the new season when they moved the Ninja Turtles to CBS, that's when he had the grappling hook.
Yeah, in the United Kingdom and some other European regions, the franchise was renamed Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles for the violent connotations of the word ninja. So
I hated that grappling hook. Gosh.
So other than like her not returning to the second and third movie, which I thought was like a huge miss for those movies initially, I think the point where I knew she was like the best April is when she was drawing the Ninja Turtles at the farmhouse.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, those drawings are so good. I want those drawings like hung up, and I know I could probably sit down and draw those myself, but like, man, those are cool. I love the one of Leonardo slouching in the chair. I love the one of Donatello chilling in the truck. Oh.
Yeah, I went to Fan Expo St. Louis this year, and I actually saw a replica of that sketch being sold, but I've already spent so much money.
Yeah,
I couldn't get it, but I wanted that so bad. Oh gosh, if there's a way I could get it, I would definitely buy it. Yeah. I think it was like $100 or something like that.
I kind of feel like that part of the movie was interesting in a sense because you got all this action, high comedy, and you get to know the Turtles and Shredder and everything. And I feel like when they got to the farmhouse, it was just this downbeat emotion, like this cool down before the final showdown happens. And
which I think was needed, right? Like, I mean, I think because like other than April getting kind of, meeting the Turtles and, fighting for her job and like the whole her breaking the story and putting the cops under her thumb was just it's hilarious to watch even now, right? Like it's just man, some things just don't really change. But like the farmhouse scene where, you know, we see them kind of become real people. You know, we see her and Casey Jones just being real people, and it's fun to watch. I think it's a cool moment.
Yeah, it's something. I think it gives more character development for the Ninja Turtles through April's words, because as teenagers, you know, they don't really like to reveal a lot of what they're going through, and she is the voice of everybody, of Leo, Don, Mike, and Raph, of what they're all feeling. You know, Raph just got him beaten up, so he's in the bathtub, and you know they're trying to nurse him back. Leo is confused because, you know, I'm the leader. I was supposed to lead my brothers into a battle and everything, and look what happened. You know, and Don and Mike, it's just like, where do we go from here, in a sense? And so because they're not able to speak it, and there may be film purposes or anything, it was good for April to give the audience that description of what everybody's going through. And once Raph, you know, wakes up and they all come together, they kind of realize that, hey, we are brothers. This is why we need each other. You know, and as kids, you once again, you don't think about that. It's interesting to see that they put this in the movie to be like, hey, you know, kids, I know you guys are trying to want more of what we gave you guys in the first 45 minutes, but you need to understand that with all the highs, sometimes there's going to be lows, and you need to understand why the lows are important in filmmaking.
That makes sense, because you know, with cartoons, you're so used to the heroes winning. No, they may have some adversaries or whatever, but they always come on top no matter what. But this one, we got to see, you know, April's home destroyed, and Raphael getting nearly killed, and the turtles getting their butts kicked, and you know, you're not used to seeing that.
I mean, ultimately the turtles still lose, right? I mean, it's Shredder's aggression towards Splinter. Not to like really jump ahead, but it's Shredder's drive for revenge and aggression towards Splinter that ultimately kills him, or not kills him, but, you know, makes them win. But the turtles still lost. Like, the turtles lost. It's Shredder's kind of ego that kind of you know forfeits him his win.
So I think it's the switch of Splinter telling his story about him coming to America and training the turtles, and why him and Shredder have this rivalry in a sense. So when it got to that part of the end of the movie, the writers and probably the director and the team, they were just like, yes, we know that we want the turtles to win, but a more connection and a better resolution would be Splinter doing the last part of the battle than the turtles, because of that history that they have.
Right.
You know, the Ninja Turtles just like, they're just a threat, but they're not as threatful as Splinter was, because to Shredder, it's just like, I need to kill you because I killed your master. So to make sure that I can erase everything that he created, I have to kill you. Turtles, I don't care. You guys could do whatever y'all want to do. I'll kill y'all, get rid of y'all later. But Splinter, you now became my main goal to get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's because of that story beat that Splinter tells.
Yeah.
I love the scene, that campfire scene. Man.
It's so cool.
Man. You know, seeing the tear from Michelangelo's eyes. You know, we got all these first experiences with the Ninja Turtles we grew up and love, and it's just like, wow. I mean, I love to meet the people who decided to create this, you know? Because I didn't I didn't start reading the comics until after the cartoons and the movies. So at that time, I didn't even know the comics even existed.
Same.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I still haven't read the
That's where it
comics
came
yet.
from. And I was just like, really? Wow.
Hmm. Yeah.
If you look at the comics today, they're definitely not for kids.
No. I don't know. Have you been reading The Last Ronin? Have you read The Last Ronin?
Yes.
It's
And I got, which will be on my review soon, I just got this the other day.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yes.
I thought about it. I was looking at it last night. Because like I want to get it eventually, but I've been too busy with other things to kind of indulge in that. But yeah, that's really good. Also, IDW's been putting out volumes of the Ninja Turtles comics, which I think there's 16 volumes now, 17 volumes.
Yeah, it's 17, and this version of the Turtle comics is the highest it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like a graphic novel? Like they put all the books together in one graphic novel?
I mean, it's not really a graphic novel. It's just like they're putting, groups of issues together in a hardback kind of display style book,
But, well, that would kind of be like a graphic novel in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah, I don't know. It's cool though. I like all the covers. I think the bindings are cool. You know what else I'm kind of like kind of going back to the movie a little bit. I like that it was just the Turtles and there was like Turtles versus Shredder, real simple kind of thing, right? No Bebop or Rocksteady. Obviously, they don't really show up in this set of movies, but no kind of dumb mutant whatever. Like I like how it was just a simple story of the Turtles meeting April, meeting Casey Jones. Shredder is, kind of taking over the city with his gang, and the Turtles just have to figure out what to do. And that was
kind of super basic. I think it was for us, it was the fights with the Foot Clan and how comedic it was, but yet action packed.
Fellow Chucker, eh?
Yeah, like that battle between them, it was just like it was funny because they would play music when one of them do it, and then switch to music when Michelangelo was doing it, and it's just like this is a dance battle but done in a kid's ninja style, and then he's just like and the dude's just like and then they just have that whole fight scene. But I think one of the best fight scenes that happened in the movie, I think is it Raph fighting the Foot Clan on the roof?
Yeah.
And it was just like it was very just choreographed so well. And
the fight was perfect on that scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's just amazing overall, like between like the fighting like the choreography of the fights in these giant rubber suits, and then people are also on the sideline like making their faces move during these fight scenes. Like, just think about how much choreography and timing has to go into all this to make it look real and believable. And yeah, there's a couple parts where they miss, right? Where like sometimes the Turtles' faces don't move during the fights, but like obviously they have expressions on their faces to make it look like they're angry or whatever. But like overall, it's so impressive what they do with this choreography in these giant suits. And I know they had different suits between the acting and the fighting and some of the other stuff that happens in the movie, right? Like I think they had something like 3 or 4 different suits per turtle with 5 or 6 different heads depending on what kind of scene they were doing. But like you still have to choreograph all of that. And the fact that like when the turtles talk, like it doesn't just look like a puppet, it really looks like they're saying the words that you know. I mean, again, there's a couple hit or misses, right? But like overall, It's so impressive.
Yeah, I think the one thing people have to realize that in the movie, they're Ninja Turtles who are teenagers fighting the Foot Clan who are also teenagers who ran away. But you don't think of it that way. You think that the Foot Clan are adults.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Sam Rockwell was 30 in this movie when they filmed it, okay, and he's the quote unquote head thug. But yeah, I don't know. That opening scene, by the way, with the kids like in the like this nasty, smoky arcade with like the skateboard ramps and stuff. And
it's
like
so
they're
Double
sitting
Dragon.
No, like it's funny because they're all smoking like cigarettes, but then they're drinking Pepsi. And not like beer like you would think like a 15 or 16-year-old would be after, right? Like
it's so adult because some adults who like smoke, they drink like Diet Coke or something. Or Diet. It's just like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah. And like they're sitting there like when Danny is sitting there like packing the boxes and opening up other boxes, there's very clear Burger King product placement in there. Oh, let's open this Whopper box just right and have the Pepsi can with the logo facing the camera. And also don't forget the kid standing next to him, don't forget to take a big juicy bite and act real excited to taste it. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And then like
is this the one where the lady get her TV stolen that me and you was cracking up about?
Yeah. Like right at the very beginning when she like turns around and the camera just moves ever so slightly and then they move the camera back and the TV's gone and she like looks over and starts yelling. So funny. Oh my gosh, that scene's so funny. It's so funny.
When I was little, I almost thought that was Esther from Safford and Son.
Oh wow!
Lady.
Yeah.
I thought that was her, and I'm like, oh, come on! Oh my gosh!
Because when we was doing the commentary, me and Corey was just realizing, okay, they stole a lot of stuff. How did they fit all of this stuff in that small little car? Like in that big?
It was like this like. Not even like a U-Haul. It was just like this white kind of business van, you know, like maybe like they had some heating and cooling equipment in there at some point, but it wasn't like a, you know, like a moving truck. It was just, what are you doing? I kind of want to move on. I want to talk about Casey Jones for a little bit because I think this was like the first real like cool version of Casey Jones. Right. I mean, I know the cartoon, he was cool, but this was like, you know, played by Elias Koteas. He's, man, every time somebody brings up Casey Jones, this is the Casey Jones I think of. You know, he's kind of got this kind of grunge, very 90s kind of grunge look to him, right? By the way, side tangent, why is everyone so sweaty in this movie? Everybody just looks like they're standing in 100-degree heat all the time. Why is everybody so sweaty?
It was a look.
No, it was a rhetorical question, Ed.
No, it literally was a look. When in action movies back in the 90s and part of the 80s, when you have that glistening look, like baby oil was on you and everything, it kind of represented that you were strong, that you had some kind of strength.
I get it, but like April is sweaty, the Foot Clan people are sweaty, Tatsu is sweaty, the pizza guy is sweaty. Everybody's sweaty. The pizza guy does not need to be rubbed down in baby oil. Like it's just sweaty.
Well, but they may not have no AC in it. So to keep them cool
like
in there,
fan and spray fan all over one of the characters.
Right.
I could see them doing that. I think I remember some kind of interview I was watching on YouTube where they were talking about the characters like in the mask of the turtles and the body. They were super hot like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
How many pounds was that they were wearing? Like what, 50?
I think the suits were 60 pounds. And then the helmet, I think the helmet was like 7 or 8 pounds.
And it made it heavier because they were sweating in it, and the
Well,
sweat
they were
was
sweating
getting
in
into
it,
the
and then they
suit.
were, obviously that they had the actors who were wearing it, and then they had the martial artists who were wearing it. So
Yeah.
like, imagine moving in these suits, man. Ugh. So I kind of have it playing over here to just give me reminders, and it's the part where Michelangelo and Donatello are dancing in front of Splinter. Like, that's so good. Yeah, and then like when we meet Casey Jones, obviously like Raphael is out on his own because he's mad because he lost his sai, and like that fight scene is so funny when first of all he's using a baseball bat and he's like, Jose Canseco bat? Tell me you didn't pay money for that, did you? And then, he just like straight up takes out Raphael like 3 separate times in this fight scene, and then he takes the cricket bat and just puts him head first in the trash can.
Yeah. He literally just like did a whack.
Yeah,
Is one of those things, and then
Yeah.
he's like because he's all in the air and they slow moing it until he falls out. You just like really
Yeah.
wow.
Oh my gosh. But Casey Jones is definitely like every time he gets shown off in something new Turtles, I'm always excited. Obviously I think Lamont and I were both big proponents of him being in this new video game that came out, the Shredder's Revenge game. Not to like date this episode really, but Shredder's Revenge just came out, and the last thing they showed off before the game came out was Casey Jones was going to be in it, and I was like, finally, because they showed off April, and like, to be fair, April's like one of the best characters in the game, but like, you're telling me for 4 months you said that April was going to be in the game and not Casey Jones? What is wrong with you? And then
Well,
obviously Casey Jones was shown off.
You got to realize they don't have a bigger cast for the Ninja Turtles.
I don't care. Casey Jones, man.
He's gonna be in.
Casey
they
Jones.
just had to, yes. They had to save that for the last reveal because they needed something to be like, we want to make this game special and surprise everybody, but we don't want to give you the full context of the secrets that we have for this game. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, before we give you the announcement, we got one hot announcement before we give you guys the date, and it was Casey Jones.
That was when my heart attack came about. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and I was actually, this was yesterday. I was looking at a interview with, was it San Fran? Or I can't remember. He was part of the marketing team for the Shredder's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about how it was just going to be the Turtles, April Splinter. That was it. Casey Jones wasn't even planned. He was not in the original plans until Yannick, that's his name. I actually got a chance to talk to him on Discord a few times. He's a pretty nice guy. And we were talking about Casey Jones. Everybody wants Casey Jones, Usagi Yojimbo, and Casey Jones was the number one desired character. So they ended up working overtime.
That's probably why the game was delayed.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about it. That's true. I did not think about that. They put a lot of overtime just to get him. Yeah.
Oh man.
I love this party scene with Tatsu.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because he just gets annihilated. Like, man, it's cool. But he's just like wearing some sweatpants and like this. He's just so. I just don't understand the outfit he's wearing in this movie. But like the top is fine, but he's just wearing like normal sweatpants, like normal '90s sweatpants, and some
budget.
Yeah.
They had to work with what they had.
Yeah. I love Casey Jones in this movie though. He's just so cool. And like he's that perfect kind of personality wise, like punk versus like he's like a good hearted punk, right? Like he just
Mhm.
he obviously he helps Splinter out of his situation, and helps Donatello. Like him and Donatello when they're fixing the truck is so much fun. What letter are we on?
And
Boy, Donatello called him claustrophobic, and he was like, I haven't even looked at another man like that.
Yeah, that joke didn't age well, but I mean, it's 1988 or whatever, right? I mean, different time. It's still like, I know it's a mean joke these days, but it was still kind of funny when you watch it. I mean, it's like, okay, you got to look at it in the context of when the movie was made. It was, oh man, Casey Jones, man, and then he ends up like he's afraid of closed-in spaces, but then he goes and tries to sleep in the truck, which is even smaller.
And I kind of feel like he was, when he was like in the movie and then to really wear his mask and stuff, I really feel like he was in it to be April O'Neil's love interest.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but I think that's...
How often did he wear his mask?
I think he wore it. I think he wore it like at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like he wore it and then he lifted it up to,
And the reason why I think he had to do that was because of Jason from Friday the 13th having the hockey mask.
Yeah.
So, and plus this is a kids movie and they didn't want to release kids.
Plus,
wow, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think.
I forgot where he tries to sneak into the Foot headquarters. And he pulls that 1 foot ninja and takes his costume and he goes out and does this and keeps walking. That was hilarious.
All right, I guess we should probably talk about the Turtles now, or do we want to talk about Splinter first? Well, we'll talk about the Turtles.
Yeah.
I think this was like the first time where I realized they were all like very distinct personalities, and like I was reading something the other day that I just like I never even thought of, being as big a Turtle fan as I am, but like every Ninja Turtle has a weapon that's opposite of their personality to teach them how to be a more well-rounded person. Or, like Raphael's size are more of a defensive weapon, and it's to teach him how to not be so aggressive. Michelangelo is kind of wild and, obviously really kind of clumsy sometimes, and the nunchucks are like the weapon you have to be the most precise with and be the most kind of focused with. Leonardo is like this kind of mild-tempered, kind of soft-spoken leader, and he has the most lethal weapons, the blades,
the katana.
Yeah. And Donatello, I forget what the reason why Donatello had a staff, but it was something like, because he's so like into science and technology, and his staff is like the simplest form of to try to bring him back down to earth a little bit and realize that he has to be one with the world before he advances.
Where did you read this? This is interesting.
Yeah, where did I read this? Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. But yeah, I
never thought about that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Speaking of the weapons, I'm sorry, I didn't cut anybody off.
No, that's fine. Go.
So Michelangelo, how he proved he's really the master of nunchakus is during that competition with him and the Foot Soldier.
Yeah.
Where he's, and this is crazy, and I mentioned this before. I don't think a lot of people really realized what he was doing. He was spinning the nunchucks with his fingers.
Yeah.
And I think it was, what was it, like a cord or chains that were connected?
There was definitely like kind of like a pole in the middle of his finger. Like you can definitely see it in the movie where it's like connected to the. Yeah.
And I was like, what the That's crazy, you know. So he's spending all he's doing this. It's like, I mean, I'm a master. You know what can I say?
Right.
Yeah.
Because at that part it's just like, what can you do with nunchucks? You know, you could do the movements and try to look flashy with it because it's the flow of it, of you connected and not
Yeah.
messing up. And with Michelangelo, it was just like, I've know all the tricks. I know how to handle this because I mastered it in what I've been talking. In fact, I could do something extra that you as a human can't do. You can't do this.
Yeah.
And just keep it going and be like, oh, I'm like, once you get to the point of doing this, that's when you know that, oh wow.
Yeah, I sent the article in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
This isn't the one I read, but it's very similar. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's a really cool theory. It's never been like explicitly said, but it's been a fan theory since like the early 90s. And it totally makes sense. So, definitely, if you're into Ninja Turtles, definitely want to give it a read. Maybe I'll put it in the show notes at some point of this episode. But yeah, Leonardo, I think this movie made Leonardo my favorite turtle. Obviously, like in the 90s, Donatello was the go-to in the video games because of the reach, right? I just but especially in the first NES game, right, where oh my gosh, where you got to jump up on these platforms and just aim down at these guys that can't jump, and it's man, gosh, dude, using Raphael in the first game was awful. I always started with him because I knew he was gonna be dead in like the second building we entered.
Yeah, it was always that close attacking with them.
Yeah, but yeah, Leonardo is definitely he's definitely you kind of see him evolve into the leader. I mean, they very clearly position him as the leader in this movie, but you kind of see him grow into the leadership role in this movie. Mm-hmm. Especially after the fight with Raph and when they're in the farmhouse and he kind of is there waiting for Raph to wake up, kind of scared to see if he does or doesn't wake up. And then obviously he sees Splinter's spirit and kind of talk to him. And then they go to, the whole fire scene we already talked about. Splinter comes to all of them, but Leonardo kind of senses it first. And he's very just kind of learning how to be a leader. And it's really cool to see him do that.
Speaking about Leonardo, there was this post I saw a long time ago, and it was so true. Now, Leonardo proved to be the top fighter because he was the only one that got a hit off of Shredder during the fight scene. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching that scene in the movie theater, and I was like, yeah! Like, Leonardo gets a slice, and then that was pretty much it, but...
Yeah. Man.
Oh, man, it was crazy. But I remember, because there are a lot of extended hidden scenes that I really wish they would throw into like a DVD or something. Mm-hmm. You remember that scene where so like Casey and all these people come about towards the building because they're hearing all this fighting going on the roof, and you're hearing one of the turtles really trying to get some hits on Shredder. That was Michelangelo, by the way. I thought it was Raphael, but it was Michelangelo. Mm-hmm. Apparently, and I didn't know this, Michelangelo, there was a hidden scene where in a farmhouse, he's like training the hardest in the farmhouse. But they don't show that in the movie, though.
No, I've seen that scene before, though. Because, like, I think there's a part where he kind of gets a little bit frustrated because he's not, like, I think Michelangelo kind of secretly feels like he's not as good as the other turtles, and that's why he's training so much harder, and that's why he's so, like, flippant about what he says and stuff. Like, he's the funny turtle to kind of hide his, I've seen that theory floated around, too, or like he just feels like he's never going to be as good as Leo or Raph, right? And so he kind of hides his feelings behind his crazy personality.
I think I think it's a disconnect. It's because when you're seeing this character built throughout the movie, playing this kind of role, doing something else like that just out of the blue, and the fact throws everything off about that character. Like you don't see Michelangelo having frustrations because he's like the party animal, and unless there's going to be some time dedicated to Michelangelo showing that he's getting frustrated as a character or he's acting out saying that I had to stop partying and realizing it, like kind of giving a monologue or something, you're not going to think about anything of that. So that scene that they probably had to take out wouldn't make sense at an end because of all the stuff that Michelangelo did. So I think even when you even when you look at Donatello, like when you not even Donatello, Raphael, when you look at Raphael, you see his anger, you see how him and Leonardo don't get along, but when they get to that farmhouse and you see that relationship is mended or something, that feels real because they were at war. And when they lost and they were taking care of Raphael and all of them came together, it kind of showcased that, okay, as character development, this fits because this is a good transition. We've seen that y'all have your idea of leadership and anger, and you see what the result is when each of you guys executed. When Raphael thought he was a leader, he got his tail whipped. Bam. When Leonardo, he's a leader, but he can't actually lead because he feels like everything falls on him. Instead of him, working with everybody and telling them what to do and actually showing leadership, it hits him in the thing. So when they get to that farmhouse scene and all of that happens, you get to see why them being as brothers really means something. They all get together, and Michelangelo is kind of feeling happy that, like, yeah, we're a crew, we're all together. What's important to me is, me being a ninja, but my brothers are important to me. Getting Raph is important. I'm not Raph. Splinter is important to me because he's kind of not only our master but our dad, and so it kind of shows the characteristics of Michelangelo to be like, yeah, I like the party, but you guys are more important to me than a party.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's true.
I guess the turtle we haven't really talked about really at all is Donatello.
Yeah.
He kind of feels like, I feel like in this movie he has like some of the best lines and some of the best moments, but I feel like out of all the turtles, he's the one that's underused the most.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know if that's just because they left stuff on the cutting room floor, or like, him and Michelangelo have some great moments in this movie, like obviously the pizza scene at the beginning. The dancing scene for Splinter, the pork rind scene in the in the apartment, watching the cartoons, like the tortoise and the hare cartoon is hilarious. Them watching it is just so stupid. It's so stupid. Why are they watching tortoise and the hare? It's just so it's so funny. But like he doesn't really have any standout moments until I would say the second movie. Not to get too ahead, but like I think the first major kind of couple scenes Donatello really gets by himself. Again, he had a great scene with Casey Jones and stuff, but like I think the first true powerful scene from Donatello is the scene in Secret of the Ooze when he kind of like, after Splinter tells them about the ooze and their story and stuff, he's like really disappointed in the story because he thinks that there should be more to the story, or that they're more special, or he's really kind of conflicted about why how they became the turtles. And obviously in that movie, Splinter says, don't confuse being special with who you are as a person. But obviously we'll get to that in the next movie. But like, I feel like Donatello didn't really get his single turtle moment,
Well, it's because Donatello and Michelangelo were they were the duo comic relief in the first movie.
Yeah.
It was more when it comes to individual.
Yeah, but I mean, even
characters.
Michelangelo got he had like two kind of solo moments, right? Like he had the nunchuck dance battle with the foot soldier, and he had there's another moment, I forget what the other kind of big moment was for him, but like he had his singular moments, right? And Raph obviously has his big moments, and Leo is Leo, but Donatello
was like the focal turtle of this movie, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right. Donatello didn't have nothing scientific to really speak about or really showcase anything compared to what the Secret of the Ooze was.
Mm-hmm.
So what if while watching it, if you see everybody get their moments and everything, what is scientific for Donatello to even respond and speak about and really gets him hyped up compared to what the Secret of the Ooze did? And I just think that they weren't thinking about it. And plus, during that time, nerds were, something that weren't popular with kids or with just popularity like it is now. Don't forget, there's a movie called Nerds, and that was to be making fun of not only nerds, but they were using their stereotype to fight against the bullies and everything. Yeah. And if you look at Ninja Turtles as a kid, you just don't think about Donatello in that way, in a sense. He just didn't have anything scientific to really talk about as a teenager in that movie compared to Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I wonder if Donatello was, because I've noticed Donatello. Everyone favors a lot of people now favor Donatello more so than they did in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, everyone's favorite was Michelangelo. I mean, Michelangelo was everywhere, even in that All-Star special. Remember that?
The music one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude! I have that on VHS somewhere, man. That
you do. I'd like to have that. I know it's on YouTube somewhere. I saw that. I may pull that up. Michelangelo.
We might need to do a spin-off episode of the music special. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What was it called? I gotta remember what this was called. Because I have it and I watch it all the time for some reason.
It was about a kid wanting to do drugs.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about coming out of their shells. The music tour.
Out of the shells.
Yeah.
Coming out of our shells. Oh, good googly movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I heard about that, and then I heard the song, and I'm like, "What the world is this? Is this horror film?" I'm like, "What is this nonsense?"
And they all had like sparkly costumes, and like it was like they all had like stars on their faces. Oh my gosh, it was so.
And Reeboks in there.
Yeah, and the costumes were like. You know how you see like the degraded costumes of the movies now? It's basically what the costumes look like here. I found the fandom page for Out of Our Shells tour. I'm gonna send it in the chat. It's so, oh my gosh, dude, it was so. But I watched it because I wanted to watch every single Ninja Turtles thing that there was. Oh my gosh, dude, the Shredder costume was so bad in that movie.
It was.
Or that thing.
Oh gosh, it really was.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna send you the Shredder costume. It was. Oh, gosh. It's so bad. The Shredder costume. It's on that page, but I tried to send you the image too. Oh, man.
Oh gosh.
Anyways, man, that's when you knew like Turtles was kind of, they had already peaked and trying to do anything they could to stay relevant. Because obviously Power Rangers were becoming big and whatever else was coming out in the 90s. VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs. Dude, VR Troopers was awesome.
I like VR Troopers.
VR.
Man.
I used to watch that VR Troopers faithfully.
So did I. It's on Netflix still, I think.
Oh, nice.
I think all the Saban stuff is on Netflix now.
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So what else do we want to talk about this movie? I mean, we haven't really talked about Splinter a whole lot. I
made it funny.
I know. I know. It's so funny that Splinter is the one that came up with Cowabunga in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
you
funny.
know what was, I think this is what happened with part 2. And I think more
I made another funny.
Exactly. I don't know if people were upset, but having Domino's representing pizza in New York,
I know,
and New Yorkers watching it. So when you see the intro to the second movie, and they're all eating that different kind, that long style of pizza and everything, I think I kind of feel like, well, I won't say I'll wait for when we get to the second movie, but I kind of feel like they really didn't use their weapons. So,
we'll get to that because there's a big reason why they didn't use weapons in the second movie. We'll get there. We'll talk about it. But
yeah, because I like what I'm talking about in the first one, because I'm just like, where was the, why did a lot of women or moms, I should say, get upset that the Turtles were using weapons and stuff? I'm like, hold on, they really didn't use a lot of their weapons in this movie.
They used them a lot more than the second movie, though. I mean, like the whole kind of antique shop scene, they used their weapons. When they were fighting Shredder, they were using their weapons. When they were, fighting the Foot Clan they were using their weapons. I think they used their weapons a lot in this movie, actually. I mean, they weren't just like punching or using, sausage links like they were in the beginning of the second movie, or a wobble clown.
Oh yeah,
that was funny though.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I think because I didn't know why parents were getting mad about that and everything, because it's just like, well, that like kids are not taking the broom handle off and using the broom handle as a bow.
Oh,
like they're not taking their knives to use as katanas. Like when you did
but yeah. Okay.
Ed, you're really losing this battle here. You're 0 of 2 here, Ed. My dad made me a pair of nunchucks. Okay, so.
Ooh, nice.
Like, so. Side story, like the first weapons that always broke out of my Ninja Turtle toys were the nunchucks, Michelangelo's nunchucks. So my dad came up with this little solution to make, like, he would buy these rods, like just these wooden rods from the store, and he made like 10 sets of nunchucks out of these rods with just a little piece of string that held them together. And they were so cool. I still have them with my Ninja Turtles, just because they kept breaking, and he was like tired of me breaking stuff. So I guess he just made stuff that wasn't breaking, but it was really cool. And he made some Donatello bow staffs out of them too.
Pops was a
he knows.
That's
handy
right there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I had a friend. He was around the neighborhood, and yeah, he had the like 2 metal rods and the chain attached to it, but he didn't know how to spin. I mean, neither did I, but
yeah.
I mean, it was pretty cool,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, nunchucks, man. Everybody wanted nunchucks in the 90s.
Yeah, after Michelangelo, you were just seeing them all around. They were cool, like the game Bad Dudes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bad Dudes. Oh no.
Yeah.
So, where do we go from here? I think we would be doing these episodes a disservice if we did not talk about the finale song. TURTLE Power. I think we would all be doing everybody a disservice.
TURTLE Power. TURTLE Power.
Yeah.
Yes.
During our movie commentary episode, that was the song we used to send it out on audio feeds, and we got struck for it, but it was worth it. Man, how does everybody feel about TURTLE Power? And I think we're going to rank the theme songs as well, everybody.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, like the Vanilla Ice song is next, but
I thought it was perfect. And the game, crap, what's it called? The Shadows for the PS. Yeah, that was playing on the intro, and I thought that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that game. I mean, I know it was pretty buggy, but I really wish they would bring that game back and kind of improve upon it. But yeah, I love that song. That and oh man, come on, LaMont.
The song. Hold on.
Well, the end of song, the end of song for the movie for me, I didn't care for. I literally grabbed my popcorn and was out the door as a kid.
This Is What We Do from MC Hammer was also in the movie.
Yeah. 9.95. That's what it was. That was. I love that one.
Yeah, the final song of the movie. Yeah, didn't care for.
Ed, you're an awful human. You're fired.
I know. I'll put my application in a month or two.
That's fine. Is there anything else we want to hit on about this movie? We've been going for almost an hour and a half. I just think this movie is a wonderful movie. Obviously, a lot of stuff would not hold up in today's society. Like, I don't know, kids smoking and running away and fighting people, but obviously, like.
Oh, go ahead, Gray.
I was gonna say, obviously, that's a time and place thing, and I think that makes this movie. I just think everything, all the choices they made, all of the even the antique store felt like a real setting. Nothing felt like it was on a sound stage. Nothing felt like it was filmed in a warehouse somewhere. And like, I know probably a lot of it was, but like, it all felt real and natural and grounded. And that's what I really liked about this movie. And I think that's why, like, after all said and done, this is still going to be my favorite of all of them. And rewatching them just kind of reaffirm that.
I think for me, it's like, I'm shocked that New Line Cinema actually not produced, but
they're just the distributor.
Distribute this movie, because you wouldn't think, movie, like, for me as a kid, I think the last movie that was based off a cartoon that I've seen was Transformers. And the Disney movies is a different universe in a sense, because some of their movies got turned into TV series and things like that, and not vice versa. So just seeing that New Line, because when you heard like New Line Cinema, you literally was thinking about maybe Nightmare on Elm Street or some of their more adult kind of films. I wouldn't expect them to publish a kids film like this.
I'm surprised this movie wasn't PG-13 at the time, to be honest. I just felt like I don't feel like this is I really truly don't feel like this is a kid's movie.
I think it's because of definitely with the kids smoking and stuff like there. I believe it got away with it because of where they were, what was going on with it. You know, it wasn't such a big, I guess not such a big thing, but it was just like they're runaways. So of course, if they run away and someone takes them in who lets them do anything, of course that's going to be fitting. They're they're using manipulation in this to get them to come, to come do their bidding. But, you know, yes, it is different ages of kids and stuff. So of course they want to do what adults do. They want to feel they want to feel like adults and feel powerful and stuff. So I think that's probably what they explained to them, the ratings board of these movies.
Oh yeah, I mean, every show, especially like what you were saying earlier, around the time, like in the late '80s, '90s, had that. You got that rebellious kid who would, stay in the restroom in the schools, and smoking, and there were a lot of those, like Roseanne, and trying to break into the parents' liquor cabinet and try a drink, you would always see that dynamic in kids. But yeah, I understand though. I was kind of surprised that they showed that myself. But maybe this was geared towards maybe teens.
I don't know if it was even geared. Like, I mean, I feel like I said, I feel like this being an independent movie, it allowed Eastman and Laird and their writing team and the producers and the directors to make the movie they wanted to make, regardless of the audience, right? Like, I don't think they were aiming for any particular audience, because if you remember, like, the original comic book run was based off of a spoof of Daredevil and X-Men, which were super violent in the 80s, right? Like,
yeah.
And I think that, I think they knew the success of the cartoons, like kids were going to see this movie, but I think they kind of leaned more in the other direction in a way, right? Where like it had a good balance where I feel like this movie was super balanced in a way. Like,
it was.
Yeah.
It had the comedic relief, it had the violence, it had the character moments, it had the scary version of Shredder. Like, it had it all, and I mean, we didn't even talk about Danny or the
Dan.
Yeah, it's Dan now. Or her boss. What's her boss's name? God, I always forget.
He was saying I really didn't. He was the typical white dad, and I was just like
Charles.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Danny revolts it from him. Rebelled against him, not revolt. Rebelled from him, and it was like focusing on that teenage aspect where you want to rebel against your parents and stuff. Now, Danny was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a good boy. Oh, I see April's purse. Let me slide this money and take it over."
Yeah,
but it fits in that movie because of what Danny was created to be and everything.
Yeah,
they needed him to relate to today's kids.
Right.
I
did like the dynamic between Charles and April, though. I thought he felt like a boss that, like, obviously a boss that, like, cared about his job and April, but also, like, didn't want to get this pressure from the police station. And there was, like, you could feel, like, his troubled decision making in there. And then obviously, like, April gets fired and at the end gets rehired to do the big news story or whatever. But the chief of police, though, was just, he was...
When I saw that movie in the theater, I was just like, I didn't even pay attention to the boss's name, even though it was already revealed his name was Charles. I kept thinking, boy, that doesn't look like Mr. Thompson. He's too skinny. But the chief of police looks just like he could be Thompson. So what's going on there? What is his name? I was confused at that point because I'm still thinking of 87, Turtles.
Yeah.
Well, what you got to think about, Charles was barely in the movie. Like
Yeah, but his scenes were impactful, though. I mean, it wasn't like he was just,
I mean, he did. I mean, yes, they were there because of the relationship with Danny, But it was just like literally once like Raph got his tail kicked, he wasn't in the rest of the movie to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Danny was because he was a key component to this movie. The dad. Nope. Wasn't trying to look for Danny. There's no scenes of him trying to use some kind of investigative journalism to find him. Didn't care. Your son ran away and you stayed in the car.
Well, it's like, yeah, in the middle of New York, right? Which means like as soon as he runs away, he could be anywhere, right? Like,
yeah.
Huh.
Right.
And Chief Stearns is the chief of police, by the way. He's just comically awful. Seriously, like he's just he's just awful. Like he clearly just cares about the reputation of the police department and not about this crime that's going on, right? It's just but
yeah.
And we see that in the real world of today.
Oh gosh.
I was thinking
do we have anything else to say about this movie anywhere before we kind of wrap it? Obviously, at the end of the show, we would be ranking, but since this is the first episode, it's sitting at number 1. But
I think this is a rewatchable movie. Like you could watch that anytime, and I think it feels like regardless of what age you are, you really do feel like a kid. It makes you feel like a kid, and you enjoy everything. I mean, yeah, there's some things you could obviously say about it that may be complaining and stuff, but overall, I'm like, when I see this, and it's a good movie to see with friends. I will say, I think it enhances the experience where you're seeing it with people and everybody's laughing and enjoying it. Definitely if you're seeing it with family and stuff. So I really love this movie. I feel like it is a classic. I really do. And to hear that they did all of this off of $13 million. That's crazy.
That's the impressive part, because you think about like, not just like, I mean, obviously the main cast is it's relatively big to keep up with, right, for a $13 million movie. You have obviously the 4 turtles. You have 3 or 4 people each playing each turtle, right? Because you have the voice actor, you have the suit actor, you have the martial artists, you have the robotists who are controlling the faces, right? That's 4 people per turtle. You have Splinter, who's similar, April, Casey Jones, Chief of Police, Charles, Danny, Shredder, Tatsu, and then you have all the extras for the foot soldiers, right? And all the extras in the city. And I mean, I don't know how you pay those people, or how you I don't know, maybe you just say, hey, if you show up, you need to dress in this costume and we'll feed you lunch or whatever. But there's a lot of stunt work in this movie. There's a lot of choreography in this movie. There's a lot of, I would say, the antique store, there's a lot of set destruction in this movie. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this movie for $13 million, and it's still super impressive today. Still super impressive today.
Yeah.
I feel for every younger generation today, because they have not they don't know the magic behind this movie. The very first time shown in theaters, they'll never understand. Even if they have it out in the movie theater one day, I mean that's fine. They can do that, but still, it'll never be that very first night.
In a way, this feels like the 90s version. I know I said Transformers, but this feels like the 90s version of The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon, yes.
Corey, you've never seen The Last Dragon.
You're right. I have not.
You need
Oh,
to
you
watch it.
No.
Oh,
Look,
you will love it.
one of the major points of starting the show was for me to watch things that I've never watched before. So, but you know, that was
One of
what
my favorite
Ghostbusters,
movies.
Ghostbusters, and then that was it. All right. Well, obviously, Ninja Turtles 1990 is ranked number 1 because it's the only one we've done. Turtle Power is the number 1 song so far. But I think that's gonna do it for Ninja Turtles episode 1 here on Standard Definition. Ed, Lamont, thank you for your time tonight. I super appreciate it. Always fun talking Ninja Turtles, and you know, Lamont, we don't really get to talk all that often, so it's nice to.
Oh, we will. We will
do this. So
be here. Yeah.
Remember, you can find Standard Definition on your podcast service of choice. You can listen to our MCU rewatch series, our Indiana Jones rewatch series, our Disney Animation rewatch series, and everything else we do over there. Ed and I are doing Ranking Nintendo with Stephanie, so you can catch all that and more on Standard Definition podcast feeds. You can follow us on Twitter at Standard Def Pod and at Boss Rush Network. If you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can also do that and watch us at youtube.com/Boss Rush Network. Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode and on Instagram at ThatRetroCode, and find me on Discord.
Lamont.
And you can also find me on Discord. You can find me on Boss Rush Network under L. Reed. And you can also find us on the Facebook chat.
Yeah, you can find me at I'm Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Nintendo Power Block with Ed, hosting the Boss Rush podcast and various other things here on the Boss Rush Network. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Everybody.
See ya.